Dear students of class 4, I am Mrs. Neha Makkad, and in this video we are going to study the lesson The Story of Ekalavya further. Now children, let us revise what we have studied in the previous part of the video. We have studied that there was a young man called Drona. He was the son of Bharadwaja and he was a great friend of Drupada. Drona married a girl named Kripi and they had one son called Ashwadhama. Drona had a very unpleasant experience with his friend Drupada. He did not value his archery, and after that, on his way back to Hastinapur, he met the Kuru princess and they insisted him to be his teacher. Out of all his students, Arjuna was his favorite. Now children, we will continue reading this lesson further. You have to turn to page number 62 for this. Arjuna worked the hardest and carried out every command of his guru. So, worked the hardest children means that he used to put a lot of effort, great effort, and carried out every command means every order, every instruction that was given by his guru, he used to obey it, he used to abide with it. And Drona used to always say to him, I shall make you the greatest archer in the world, promised Drona. So, all of you know that we have studied in the previous video that an archer is the one who knows how to shoot with the bow and arrow. So, he promised, he gave a word and he assured Arjuna that I will make you the greatest archer in this entire world. And he gave a word and he assured him that he will do so. Now one day a young man came out of the forest. His name was Ekalavya and he had lived in the forest all his life. So he was not used to living in the town or the city. He lived his entire life in the forest only. He wanted to become Drona's pupil. Pupil means student. And learn the art of archery. So, like Drona used to teach how to shoot with bow and arrow, he wanted to learn this science from Drona. He wanted to become his student. He came one morning to Drona's house and threw himself at the teacher's feet. So, he bent down and he requested Drona that please become my teacher, and he threw himself at the teacher's feet. Means he bent down and asked him that please become my teacher. Oh great teacher, I have come to serve you. So serve you means to give out myself to you or to perform my duties towards you and to learn archery, that is the science of shooting with bow and arrow, and I beg you to take me as your pupil. So I beg you means I request you humbly to take me as your student. So till here children we have studied that Drona had promised Arjuna that he will make him the best archer or the greatest archer in the world, and even though Ekalavya is more inclined towards the guru, but Drona is not willing to teach Ekalavya. Drona was very pleased with the boy's words and with his behavior, but could not take him as his pupil. So Drona was very happy with the boy's words, with the Ekalavya's words, but he said that I cannot make you my student, I cannot take you as my pupil, and I like your manners, the way you are talking to me, I like the way you speak, but I cannot teach you. So go back to the forest. So he instructs him to go back to the forest. He was very disappointed. Ekalavya was very disappointed after hearing this because he wanted to study under the great Guru Drona, but he thought of Drona as his teacher, but he obeyed him, means whatever he said, he listened to him, and returned back to the forest. There he made a clay image. Clay image means a statue of Drona with mud, and prayed to it every day. He practiced day and night. So he worked hard in the day also and as well as the night also. So he became so skillful. Skillful means being able to do something, good at something, or clever in something. Okay, so he became skillful means he was very good with the skill of archery and in the art of shooting with bow and arrow, that even he could shoot in the dark. So he became so skillful that he was so good at it that he could even aim things at the night without even seeing the objects he was aiming at, and he could shoot the things just by hearing the sound of them. So just by the sound he could shoot the target rightly. One day all the Kuru princes were out hunting in the forest. So all the Kuru princes were hunting, went for a hunt in the forest, and one of the huge dogs ran ahead of them and suddenly came out into a clearing in the trees. So sometimes in between the trees there is a gap that is known as a clearing. So he came out, and in the middle of the clearing was the image of Drona. So in that clearing, what did they find? That there was an image, there was a statue of Drona, and the dog started to bark at it. So the dog started barking at the statue, thinking that it is Drona. Now at that time, Ekalavya was about a quarter of a mile away. Means quarter means 1/4 of the distance of a mile. He was away from there and deep in the forest means deep inside the forest, and he heard the sound of the barking dog. So the dog barking. And then he pulled his 7 arrows from his quiver. So quiver is nothing, children, but a long narrow case which is held at the back for holding the arrows. So he took out from that box which was hanging at the back, the case, and he pulled 7 arrows together, and then he let fly one after the other, and because his aim was very correct, all the arrows went straight inside the mouth of the dog, and it did not kill the dog at all, but directly went inside the mouth of the dog. So each arrow pierced. Pierce is to forcefully penetrate or to forcefully get inside something. So they all went inside the dog's mouth without hurting it, without killing it, and made a pattern. Pattern is an arrangement of arrows which stopped the dog's barking. So now if you can see in the picture given on page number 62, children, you will find that all the arrows are inside the dog's mouth and the dog has stopped barking. Just then the princess came into the clearing in the forest. The clearing means in between the gap that was there where there was no grass or no big trees. So they came there and saw the dog. They were all amazed. Amazed means they were all surprised that how did this happen. Arjuna, they cried, here is an archer more skillful than you. So they said that there is somebody who is more able, more capable or more clever than you. Look, without seeing also the dog, he has shot the 7 arrows into the mouth of the dog, and each the same distance from the next. So, and that too also not all the arrows were at the same distance, means as you can see in the picture, they are all in a similar line, in a similar pattern, in symmetry. Arjuna was quite angry. So Arjuna became very upset with this because he wanted to be the greatest archer in the world, and when they saw Ekalavya come striding out of the forest. So striding means, children, to walk at a fast pace or to move by taking big steps. So Ekalavya came out of the forest by walking at a fast pace or moving by taking big steps. Now let us see what happens after this. They spoke to him and asked him who he was, and at last took him to their teacher Drona. When Ekalavya saw Drona, he immediately threw himself at the master's feet and joined his hands in greeting. So because he considered Drona as his guru, even though he refused to teach him, but he made a clay mud statue of him and learned from it and prayed to the statue every day. Who are you? Asked Drona. So he said, I am your humble pupil, means I am your modest student, replied Ekalavya. My pupil, cried Drona in amazement. So my student, said Drona in surprise. How can that be? What do you know of archery? So he said that how can that be, because I have not taught you, and how do you know about the science of shooting with bow and arrow when I have not taught it to you? Then the princess told Drona about Ekalavya's wonderful shooting. So how did he shoot all the 7 arrows inside the dog's mouth that the princess told to their guru Drona. Drona was even more amazed, means surprised, when Ekalavya told him that how he had made the clay image of the guru, that is Drona, and how he has learned from that. Drona was overjoyed to learn about such a skillful, that is clever and capable pupil, and devoted means children, dutiful or faithful student. So skillful means clever, able, and devoted means dutiful, faithful. He began to praise the young man, but one glance means one look at the Arjuna's jealous and angry face. So he was jealous means he was feeling envious of Ekalavya, and he was having a feeling of resentment also, and his face became angry because of this. So now when Drona saw this, then he stopped his praise for Ekalavya and reminded him of his early promise. So in the starting of this lesson, we have seen that Drona has promised Arjuna that I will make you the greatest archer of the world, and Ekalavya, if Ekalavya would have been there, then he would become the greatest archer. So he stopped praising him and he was sad. Drona was sad, but he hardened his heart. Hardened means he deadened his heart. He stopped being sensitive for his humble pupil Ekalavya, and he make his heart deadened and desensitized it. He stopped being sensitive towards Ekalavya and said to Ekalavya that if you are my pupil, means if you are my student, where is your present for your teacher? Present means gift. So he asked for a gift from Ekalavya. So Ekalavya said, everything that I have is yours, master, replied Ekalavya with a smile. So then Drona asks to Ekalavya, then give me your right thumb, because if the right thumb will be given, then he will not be able to shoot, and then Arjuna will become the greatest archer of the world. So Ekalavya drew a sharp-edged arrow. So he took out a sharp-edged arrow from his quiver, that is the case for keeping the bows and arrows at the back, and smiled at his teacher and sliced, means he cut off his finger, he cut off his thumb, and in one stroke, cleaning off his right hand and laid it at the Drona's feet. So it was a very difficult gift to give to his teacher, but yes, he cut off his thumb and then laid it down from his right hand in the feet of his teacher. So children, this story is taken from the epic Mahabharata, and this is the end of the lesson. Thank you, children.